Hello, everyone. It's Wednesday night. Welcome back. If you rock with the Truth First Basketball Talk, hit the like and subscribe. Tonight, we're hitting four things. We're talking Judson versus Steele, why points don't get you recruited, the player's pulse, and why we wrote the book. And just so you know, if you're sensitive, your feelings might get hurt a little bit. Phil?
Kev, look, I want everybody to see what's showing up on the screen. Not myself or Kev. I'm telling you, parents, right now, players, he's throwing out the knowledge. Got it right now. You can go get it. The number one hot seller, the number one new release by Mr. Kevin Howell on Amazon, the Parent Recruiting Roadmap. Go and get it now. Go and get it now.
Yes, thanks, Phil. You know, we got that's chock full of the top questions that we get asked quite often. But you know, last night, man, we watched that Judson Steele game, and we know it's a rivalry game. We know that emotions are running high, and we know that everybody wants it. But that was a game and a half. What was your first impressions?
Well, my first impressions was it was a rivalry game. And the first quarter was a lot of quick up and downs and missed shots, adrenaline flowing. But Kev, let me tell you, did it pick up? I thought, it's evidenced by the 7 to 10 first quarter scores that we got a chance to see, with Steele leading in the first quarter, end of the first quarter, 10-7. But things picked up, and they picked up well.
Yeah, I think Justin McKinney, we talked about him being a wild card in the previous game, and man, he was electric. He was electric last night, and Judson, they bring speed, toughness. Steele brought discipline and structure, and I think when they hit the reset button after that last game, they were coming for it, and they put it in the toughness. But I was really thinking, man, we talk about invisible stats all the time, and I want to throw this one out at you. In that first half, Judson was getting on a run, and they were running down court, and the ball was in the middle, got swing, and I'm telling you, that joker was about to shoot that ball from the corner, wide open, and here comes Dre Anthony flying down the court to knock it out of bounds.
Right.
Now think, that three-pointer could have changed that game.
Yeah, he did come blasting through there, didn't
he? Yeah, and that was really impressive, man. I was excited. I like him. I think he gets overlooked a lot of times. Rivalry games, we talk about talent. Sometimes isn't a separator, but it's emotional control. And who do you think handled that better?
Well, that gets into being something interesting, because when I looked at, and I'm going to take this to Garland, right?
Mm-hmm.
I thought that even though he, may have been missing some shots, right? But he didn't have a problem going inside, right? And
no.
I think that the composure there, because let's face it, when he was going against Red, Crenton, would you help me say his name?
Red.
Yeah, we'll stick with Red. You could see, when you talked about speed, you could see the speed and handle that Red had, right?
Mm-hmm.
Going. But you talk about the whole game in watching his demeanor, Garland's demeanor. It it was like non-changing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, that's such good composure to have, to have that, to be able to navigate that, even if you get beat off the dribble, right? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
just just wasn't ever any fluster there, one bit. So I thought he showed a lot of cool, calm, and I tell you, somebody who, in some eyes, might have had a disappointing game when you get into Logan Gonzalez, right?
Yeah.
Um, but the thing is that there wasn't any of that. When I do get in, I'm going to force those threes
Mm-hmm.
or any shots. Yeah, he might have not got the rebounds you might have been looking for. He might not have scored the points you might have been looking for. But guess what? He didn't ever force a situation, which, some people would have named like his, would have been trying to get thirds, so to speak. So I thought that
Yeah.
was pretty good. But my steady ready guy, and I sent you the text. I love to watch this guy play, and that's Maurice
Yeah.
Eddy. I really, really like his game. And everything from the handle to the rebounding to the taking the big shot, whether it's to the basket or shooting the three-pointer. I really like his game.
You know what? We're gonna pull up an old clip from Mr. Langston University,
Oh,
and
Coach
and,
Chris Wright.
and this is what this game came down to.
We don't turn the ball over a lot. I think our teams the last 4 years have averaged under 10 turnovers a game collectively. And so I think,
Wow.
again, that's a lot of things that really help you win. But those are some things that are really big into our identity and just what we believe, is going to help.
So
We got
that's
the
something
audio
that
anyway. I don't know what happened to that video.
oh man, you know what, Phil, that video kicked your video off. But we we we've talked about the turnovers, and we talked about the toughest team wins, and I think we're getting a chance to go back and see some of the conversations we've had with coaches and bring them um, into tonight's show, because in these games you're gonna have highs and lows, but this is what Coach Artaz looks for.
So from a basketball perspective, we're just saying, how can we make this player great? From a culture perspective, it's all the stuff that we talked about. Is he a good teammate? Is he helping guys up off the floor? Are they helping him up off the floor? Is he throwing his hands up when somebody takes a bad shot? Like some of those things are just automatic disqualifiers for us because they're not going to change their stripes when.
And here comes our guy, Mr. Philip Townsend, back in the mix. We miss you there, Phil.
Yeah,
But we brought in Coach Artaz, and we talked about body language. And guys were so competitive last night, but we never saw anybody hanging their head. We saw some emotion. We saw teammates coming right over, picking them up. So that was very encouraging. And I mean, remember, those are two teams in the top 10 in the state.
Right. Yeah, Judson at number 7 ranked and Steele at number 8 ranked in the state. But I think I saw two different ways of the turnovers. It was like to me like Steele getting turnovers, maybe the deflective wise or so, or not, are just, maybe it wasn't the best pass from Judson and them getting and going. But, in that second half, I saw a lot of on ball pressure and steals being where Judson was taking the ball from Steele. But again, in the end, it's still, even when they were losing the ball or the turnovers came, it really still didn't look like it was getting rattled. You know what I'm saying? You know how
Yes.
some people get rattled and fall apart over a steal, and then there comes that body language all into play. And Judson had multiple steals, on-ball steals with against Steele in that second half, and Steele was still a play on words there, but Steele was still composed as far as that goes. So it was just really interesting, a really interesting game to watch, because that second half it was full of good action.
I wish that, and this will be something that we can't really fix right here, right now, but I wish that we would start having the conversation about neutral site games, because the same time that Judson and Steele were going down to the wire, Antonian and TMI across town, you got three guys that played on the EYBL Nike circuit all on the court on the same time, and you had to pick which game that you were going to attend. And I think Elijah Williams finished that game with 37.
Wow.
Our very own Amari Guerra finished the game with 36. And it's funny because we just talked about points, right?
Right.
But this segment is points. They don't get you recruited. I know that we can talk about Gino Auriemma and Coach Hurley at Connecticut, and they were just on a podcast talking together, and they were talking about there are guys that they recruit for points, but there's only like one or two people. The rest of the team, it's not the case, and I think parents fall in love with points, and I think they fall in love with points because really, man, they understand points. Coaches love players who can survive and survive without scoring points. A lot of times high school scorers will pad numbers when they're playing a bad team, but what are they going to do when it's chop block time?
Yeah.
So that's kind of it, man. I know that when we look back at it, we talk about who do we want on the floor, and we've talked in the past. We can talk about the point guards. We've talked about Talent Todd. We've talked about Amari. We've talked about Red. We've talked about Jamil. We've talked about Josh Rice. We talked about DJ Jordan. And out of that whole group, Amari is the only one that really, because of his team needs for him to score that way. For the most part, the other guys are complete all-around point guards that score, defend, pass the ball, that lead, So I just want to tell you.
That's not to say Amari doesn't pass. We don't want anybody to say, Kevin Howell said Amari doesn't pass the ball.
No, but there's times, like in big games with them, I saw him against St. Michael's, where he needed to get up more shots, and he was unselfish to a fault, in my opinion, in that game. So I just think that young guards in the city this season and past season have got some role models that they can look up to, and every one of those guys we talked about are going to be playing at the next level. And if as you're listening in, if you want more truth that cuts through all the noise, that's exactly what the Player Pulse does. And people say, what's the Player Pulse? Well, that's our weekly newsletter. and you can find it. You can find it within all of our social medias. It comes out, but for parents and players, they're not failing the recruiting cycle because of lack of effort. They're failing because nobody really explained the system to them at all, and that's a bad thing, a sad thing, because everybody is doing their damn best to help their kid, But that's why we started writing the Players Pulse, and so if you don't know how to find it, message me and I'll help you get to it. Because some of the big trip ups, Phil, people are getting on the wrong teams. They're getting on the wrong events. They have the wrong expectations. And what we're trying to do with our platform is save families money.
That's what I'm saying. They're spending the money wrongly, so to speak.
Yeah, and we've got this book, and you see the QR code there, and it's priced at $8. For the cost of a value meal at McDonald's. You can download this book, and it's going to save you hundreds, if not thousands, over the summer. Plus, it'll give you a plan, a background knowledge to understand what's going on, and so that's the reason that we wrote the book.
Yeah, Kev. You have to. You have to get out of fighting something that's been systemic, right? What have you noticed in your time, my time, and even today? Big man on campus is the guy that we point to and say, "Woo, hey, that's a bucket getter right over there. That's a bucket getter," and that's who, if you're in that high school phase, I'm just saying that going. You're the guy that gets the principal to pull you inside the office and have a cup of coffee, because you're the guy that can get the buckets, but this guy is getting double-digit rebounds and just tapping the double-digit in points. Well, good job, but when you factor in order to be able to get those rebounds consistently like that, this guy is working. He's doing something. And so all I'm saying is that if you're a bucket getter and you can score, you better be able to do something else. You better be able to get down in a crouch, and you better be able to rebound, do something, because, look, you might be that scorer, and that's what everybody has you on this level, but guess what? It can be a different animal on the next level, and you aren't that scorer there. And guess what? You haven't prepared yourself with any other skills.
I think that I can't believe that I'm quoting Draymond Green, but Draymond Green says he has parents that come up to him all the time and says, "Hey, my kid plays your role. Like, he gets some rebounds, he scores a little bit, but he plays defense." And Draymond Green was like, "Man, people forget I was nice in high school," and that just goes to the point that when you get to that next level, everybody can score. When you get to the next level, everybody can do this. And what are you doing? And we've go ahead, Phil.
No, I was going to say that is so true. What people don't know about Dennis Rodman, when Dennis Rodman played college ball, Dennis Rodman, he could score. He scored, but when he got to Detroit, then, hey, that's not going to get me in the game. I better come up with another little niche that's going to get me in the game. Well, given that he was a prolific rebounder too in college, I broadcasted some of Dennis Rodman's games when he was in college. And I can tell you right now, right then, I said, this is a man among boys at that time. And of course, I was failed, as Kevin has pointed out. I said he was going to be a first-round pick. He was the number 1 pick in the second round, though. But I'm just telling you that, like Kevin said, yeah, at one point, Draymond was that guy. Dennis was too. But sometimes you got to get in where you fit in.
And that's true, man. And that kind of goes with how, we've said that we're not for everybody. We said this isn't for everybody. We said we're not like everybody else. And I think that 2 or 3 things stick out with us, for us, and we stand by. We have an evaluator first lens. We're not influencer first. I think too many times parents fall into a trap of seeing the game through a parent's lens instead of seeing the game through a coach's lens. And it's production. There's a young man, and his dad had reached out, and I told him that he didn't play enough defense, that he needed to quit tagging me in his social media. And I think the dad was upset a little bit, and he started telling me why he didn't play, because he was injured or this or that. And at the end of the day, coach doesn't care. Like, he's saying to you that you're going to help me win. You're going to help me save my job. You're going to help me feed my family. If you can't do, then life's not fair. And you move on. I mean, an example today, I went and I watched the kid. I went and watched the kid for school, and 6'8", that shoots the ball well, does a lot of great things. And about halfway through the workout, I went up to him and I asked him, "Hey man, are you hurt?" "Well, my ankle did. I said, "Bro, I came to watch you. And if you can't do it, then I ain't got shit to go back and tell that coach." And like it, love it, hate it. That's just the way it is, And I think another thing, man, is we tell the truth about roles, readiness, and levels. If a kid isn't D1, we'll say it. And if a kid is D1, we explain why. We just kind of stick by that. And one thing you talked about or came up a little bit earlier was double-digit rebounds versus points. And I just want to point out some names that have had some big-time numbers. Mason Thomas has
I know it.
over 17 points 3 times this year. Amani Francis averaged 17 rebounds. Trey Clark hit his 600 rebounds this year. I know Hagan Hurst had a couple of 18 rebound game. Elijah Hubbard and Jay. These are all big game-changing performances that I feel like, and we talked about, and we've done articles about, guards being able to rebound like that because of the 3-point shot. The ball comes out further, you have further to track it, And the third thing that we do talk about that's different is we teach the system to help families stop overspending when they start to understand how everything goes. We start talking about if you don't understand the recruiting, how it actually works, you're guessing. And when you start guessing, it gets expensive.
Right.
And I feel, and again, man, like we talked about, like you and I on the side, like I just wished that people were okay with saying, I don't know, and then the other piece is make sure you're talking to the right people,
Right. That's right here. See, it's amazing how even when some people can see something isn't something, but they'll let that other person tell them it is.
Mm-hmm.
And look, I hear people when they say, "Oh, so and so is really good. So and so is really good. And I'm talking about someone related to me, right?
Mhm.
And I'm like, good at what? Because no, that's not that might be good at park play or something, but that's
Mhm.
not good on the court. No, no. You just have to be honest, and you have to be willing to accept honesty. I think that
Mhm.
so much is what the problem is getting parents to accept honesty, especially if you have that outside ear telling you that something's someone is better than what they truly are when they get to
Mhm.
it. And this isn't bucket hating, anybody getting points, because Kevin and I both could get buckets. So it is not that. It's just trying to get you to understand that you need to diversify your game and be ready to get in there and contribute in other ways besides just getting some buckets.
Yeah, and I'll clarify. I rebounded and set screens. I had one game above 20 points, so I wasn't a bucket getter.
Oh, but you could.
Right,
See,
okay.
yeah,
Uh,
it's a difference in what you do because, as I told you, I was a bucket getter,
mhm.
but the one time I did play, my coach changed all of that. You
Mhm.
see, uh,
Yeah. I think as we kind of wrap this up a little bit, I think that what people need to understand, there's a hard truth about highlight reels. Most parents think that a highlight reel is about proving how good their kids is or how talented their kids are, and coaches just see it differently. A highlight reel is supposed to answer a question, and that question is, does that coach understand your role in 30 seconds or less? Because that's all you're going to get. And we talk about elevator pitches and sales. Well, there you go. And what coaches look for first is defense that leads to offense, smart decisions, extra pass, kickouts, loose balls, effort plays. Those are the things that are going to get you a separation, you know. And what really kills you is dribble clips that go nowhere, 10 jumpers in a row with no defense, and all these obnoxious, loud edits that hide how the kid actually plays. I'm just gonna tell you, man. Like, if you got profanity in your highlight reel, you're done. I watched a local high school put out on the high school basketball Instagram terrible songs, terrible choices. You know,
exactly.
and there's no sense in that, because you know what? If you don't have the judgment enough to say, hey, that's not good, then you can't be trusted. You know. So, Phil, for myself, for you, everyone, we appreciate you rocking with us tonight. If anything tonight made you feel some kind of way, made things get clearer, hit like and subscribe so more families get the truth that they need. And if you want full blueprint, grab the book, plug in, because clarity beats confusion every time.
Run out, get the number one release, new release on